learning progression that Monica has there, I mean, it could be to a point of saying in area or in length and volume and mass will be produced or developed in the same way, and go on to a second foundational thing? Or are these the four foundational things that we want to write about? And if
I
it is,
think we
then
need to do some writing of the foundational things.
Okay.
So the activities we started yesterday and kind of in a more zigzag way today have continued with that. Let's use the to measure how much it feels to us as sufficient. You know, if I remember correctly, we said we would do, since we jumped into area, we would write up some of these and write up some as well on length, one each in volume and weight, and then instructions, just like you said.
that's what
And I think that would be very important. And then we could redistribute our work tomorrow, where we would team up in whichever way. Maybe you and I would team up on the tools, and you would team up on the next tier, and there's Lucia's here as well. So there'll be 5 of us, and did that make sense?
So obviously, I was thinking of the linear because I went and cut these so that we would have
No,
them.
and that's fine.
But didn't mean that that had to be it. But
No, but let's see what you got and see if we can organize ourselves to do. So it's a clear task?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So-
Now, I guess my question about Lucia, did you feel like you needed something to give to Lucia
It would be
tomorrow?
really nice if by the end of the day, we have some of this stuff written up, that we could give that to Lucia. So it's a way for her to join us and a way to get some quick feedback. And then we would reconstitute our working group, where are we at, and let's move on.
So when you're talking about having something ready for her written up, what form or format are you talking about?
Like we were trying to get it into activities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think she would appreciate that the most.
Like what you started yesterday?
Yes, and yes, it's quite holy. It's more
Yeah.
air than Swiss.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
Not
that-
HOLY?
However, maybe a little of that, but not much. Yeah. Breezy.
But
Yeah.
I was even, as you discussed that, if we had something like that to actually hand it to her for a half hour and say, look at these, and then tell us what you think.
And at the end of the day, if I emailed it to her, she's
Well, that-
very diligent, and
Okay.
she would do that.
Okay.
Same with Dora and Evelyn and Sasa. You know, we should do the same, and then that
Hand
would
it
help
today.
them.
Yeah.
You know, well, hey, why don't you put the face in or put something else in? You know, you could, so not to, and stop me, because you see that this concept was clearly embedded.
Mm-hmm.
And they may be able to tell us, well, you guys didn't embed that. How can you embed that? So that was my only insight with this morning, is the one instruction I would see we should add in. Go ahead, kids, make a puzzle, use one fold, and you know what, symmetrical fold, and you could, you know, then it could be a symmetrical fold on the piece you made, and then they'll have a set of pieces that should be related to one another. So then they've made the set, and they've embedded the concept.
So we could just give them a piece of paper and say, fold the paper to represent the different pieces. I mean, that they would start folding
Yes.
halves, fourths.
Yes.
Yeah.
And even if we had a frame that they could put it in, like the whole sheet, like you had him draw up, and you know, the kids may make different sets,
Mm-hmm.
but they still would be, all should be related to one another, I think.
Yeah, which is what essentially we've got in this plastic sleeve.
Yes.
The one side is.
And so
the
then
other
Yeah.
side is
we could still make a
Yeah.
nice set for them that we've made, but they then would get this concept more through the symmetrical folding.
Mm-hmm. So that would just be a separate activity in some place where, okay, here's your sheet of paper.
Yes. Then we're
make folds in your
tracking-
paper that are going to represent those different pieces. And you can use more than one sheet of paper, maybe you wanna make the
Yes.
halves on one and the fourths on another, and maybe
So keeping the folds as opposed to cutting.
as part of the activity. I mean, if you want them, excuse me, still to cut it out at some point, you know, that's another activity, but they'll be given these pieces. So cutting them out again doesn't really make probably as much, take as much thinking as actually
First time.
folding and seeing where, if you want to bring in the symmetry and actually the,
So this way we lose the symmetry.
right.
The other way we don't, and
Yeah.
then now we bring it together.
Especially.
Yeah.
Lose it until you get into this piece.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
If we do it the other way, how could you symmetry folding to make this set? You know, something like that brings us back to this and to them.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just lots of ways to go.
But
Right.
to
Yeah.
but to anchor to the UPIC folks and what they're doing would keep us on the same page.
Yeah.
So all I did was tried to cut the links, and there's some extras here, and pretty well. This is 12 inches. There are some 9x12 tag board or cardboard or whatever that is. So I think if I had this right from Jerry, I'm missing a 1. I had a 1.
I didn't have a 1, but
You didn't have a 1.
But
Okay.
that's okay.
No,
You can.
I thought I made what you wanted, but as I sat here, I was thinking there was also a 1. So there's a 3, I think.
So you got a 2 and a 3.
3.
You got a 4.
I thought I had a 4 in here, but those look like
It's
both
another
3s.
3.
But my goal was to
Well, the
have
shorter
a.
one's the full.
You could be a
That's
3, 4. So yeah, maybe they're
Oh,
3
here we go.
4s.
There we are.
I had
I'm
no
sorry.
2.
Yeah. Here's a 2. Sorry about that.
Oh, so you have a 2 as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
I couldn't remember if you had a 2.
I didn't, but it doesn't matter.
All right.
No, it's fine.
I mean,
This still works.
yeah.
Mhm.
So there's a 3, and a 4, and a 6, and an 8. But there is no, and I don't know whether the 2 belongs in there, because obviously to the 6 to the 3 goes nicely.
And to the 12.
And the 12. And what, the 8,
If you're using this with your Davidoff approach, go ahead, just play with this. We're recording this. That's great.
well, I was trying to think that just about everything that was done earlier